Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating infrastructure mystery. We're going to look at how a globally standardized, multi-billion-dollar data center network model, an architecture that literally powered the entire enterprise world for over a decade, just suddenly collapsed under the weight of modern demands. So let's dive right in and figure out exactly what broke the internet's backroom.
Here is the roadmap for our forensic autopsy today. First, we'll cover the era of the three-tier model. Then, the east-west traffic inversion. Third, spanning tree's fatal flaw. And finally, we'll wrap up with the spine leaf revolution.
All right, part 1, era of the three-tier model. Now, before we can really understand why this architecture failed, we need to respect the brilliant engineering that actually built it. To grasp this, we kind of have to rewind the clock a bit. Back in 1973, Robert Metcalfe and David Boggs at Xerox PARC published the foundational spec for Ethernet. And the elegance of it was really in its simplicity, right? Any node could transmit when the wire was idle. But as networks started to grow, we desperately needed layer 2 switching. The catch? That created the massive danger of infinite traffic loops. Enter Radia Perlman in 1985. She mathematically solved this exact problem with the Spanning Tree Protocol, or STP. These incredible innovations culminated beautifully in the 1990s with the standardization of the perfectly logical three-tier data center model you're probably familiar with: access, distribution, and core.
You know, that three-tier design really was a masterpiece for its time, but it was entirely based on one foundational assumption, which was that traffic flows vertically. Just think about it for a second. A user out in a branch office requested a file from a server sitting in a central data center. That traffic went north-south. Because of this, the whole architecture was heavily optimized for this vertical path. It concentrated the most expensive, highest capacity hardware right at the very top, at the core, with progressively cheaper equipment down at the edges where the servers actually lived. At the time, it made perfect economic and technical sense.
Moving on to part 2, the east-west traffic inversion. Well, as we all know, technology never stands still. And this right here is essentially the scene of the crime. By the mid-2000s, server virtualization completely changed the game. Suddenly, workloads weren't just talking to clients out on the internet. They were chattering intensively with neighboring virtual machines. Distributed databases were constantly synchronizing state across their replicas. Microservices and load balancers were just firing off continuous remote procedure calls.
And modern measurements reveal a really dramatic inversion. Today, 70 to 80% of all data center traffic is east-west. It's moving laterally between servers inside the exact same facility. So that foundational assumption baked into the 1990s three-tier design, the one that said most traffic flows vertically, yeah, it was utterly destroyed.
Let's look at what that actually went. Under the old three-tier model, if a virtualized workload just wanted to talk to a neighboring server sitting in the exact same row, the data packet had to take this absurd multi-hop journey. It traveled up from the access switch into the distribution layer, potentially all the way up to the core, then all the way back down through distribution, and finally down to a completely different access switch just to reach its destination. Every single one of those hops consumed shared bandwidth, added switch processing overhead, and introduced latency. In high-density environments, this ridiculous path became the primary bottleneck for the entire data center. Which brings us to part 3, spanning tree's fatal flaw. So the vertical inefficiency was bad enough, right? But ironically, the second major culprit in our autopsy was the very protocol designed to keep the network safe in the first place. I really want you to let this massive number sink in: 50%. That is the amount of physical bandwidth that the spanning tree protocol permanently wasted. In a system that was already straining under massive new east-west traffic loads, half of the installed physical bandwidth was rendered completely unusable at any given moment. And here's exactly why. STP's loop prevention mechanism worked by forcefully blocking redundant links. So you had organizations paying absolutely top dollar for enterprise hardware, redundantly cabled at every single layer, and the protocol intentionally forced half of those links into a standby state just to prevent broadcast storms. And it gets worse. If a topology change occurred, say a link failed or a new switch got inserted, STP had to reconverge to find a new loop-free path. In its original form, this reconvergence took 30 to 50 seconds. Now, in the era of modern cloud production workloads, a 50-second pause, that isn't just a delay, it's an unacceptable, catastrophic outage. When we look at the totality of this crisis, the fundamental mismatch just becomes glaringly obvious. You've got an architecture built for north-south traffic that is actively drowning in a 70 to 80% east-west inversion. You have an infrastructure desperately crying out for bandwidth, yet it's permanently wasting 50% of its physical capacity. And you have a modern cloud environment that demands ultra-high availability, yet suffers 30 to 50-second outages just to reroute traffic. The three-tier model didn't just age, it became fundamentally, architecturally mismatched to the very nature of modern compute.
Okay, finally, part 4, the spine leaf revolution. It was clearly time for a radical departure from the hierarchy of the 90s, and the industry needed a solution, fast. But here is the incredible plot twist. The solution to our 21st century cloud crisis wasn't a new invention at all. It was actually derived from a paper written way back in 1953 by a Bell Labs engineer named Charles Close. Now, Close was working on telephone switching networks, and he mathematically proved that a multi-stage interconnection fabric built from smaller, uniform switches could achieve strict non-blocking performance. In a closed network, every single possible input-to-output path can be simultaneously active without interfering with one another. This was exactly the magic property the modern data center desperately needed.
So the modern data center took closed math and implemented it as a practical two-tier topology called spine leaf. It works like this. Every leaf switch connects directly to every spine switch, but leaves never connect to leaves and spines never connect to spines. Because of this beautifully uniform, fully meshed pattern, the topology is inherently loop-free. There's absolutely no need for spanning tree to block anything. All links are active simultaneously using equal-cost multipath routing. And better yet, we get a deterministic 2-hop guarantee. Any server can reach any other server in exactly 2 hops, up to the spine, down to the leaf. No more absurd multi-hop journeys. And if you need more port capacity, you just add another leaf. Need more bandwidth? Just add another spine. It scales linearly. It's brilliant. SpineLeaf beautifully solved the East-West cloud crisis, giving us the predictable, high-bandwidth fabrics that we absolutely rely on today. But I want to leave you with a provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. We just saw how a perfectly logical, globally adopted architecture was completely destroyed by an unforeseen shift in how traffic behaved. So, with the massive, synchronized, parallel processing demands of the modern artificial intelligence era crashing into our data centers right now, demanding absolute lossless transport and one-to-one non-blocking bandwidth, what core assumptions of our current state-of-the-art designs are being silently invalidated right now? It is a fascinating question, and one we'll undoubtedly need to explore next. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the architecture.